Hello, and welcome to the CBL Changeup. I'm Mark Pare. Today we take a look at the reigning, defending, undisputed league champion Welland Jackfish as part of our 9-podcast look at all 9 teams across the CBL ahead of the 2026 campaign. We caught up with Reece Doumani. He is the color analyst for the Welland Jackfish. We talk about a lot of the new faces that are coming up, some of the returning faces, and everything else that's happening at the pond ahead of time, and taking a look. Can they do it again? Can they go back to back? Can they win a 4th straight pennant? We had that conversation, and here it is. Mark and Dan here with you, and we are joined by a special guest, the color analyst for the Welland Jackfish. Reece, why do I keep screwing up your last name?
Everyone does, Mark. It's all good. Everyone does. Yeah, it's Lebanese. It's weird. People think I'm Italian for some reason. They go, oh, it's like Doumani. I'm like, nah, it's Doumani. But yeah, no, it's all good. I'm used to it, man. I'm a twin too, so I'm used to people screwing up my first name also. So thinking I am my brother. There, English. Good one, Reece. Nice start for me. All right.
I'm leaving all of that in, by the way.
Hey, all good.
I'm not cutting this part out. Does your twin have the broadcasting chops like you do, or?
No, not really. He behind the scenes guy, you could say.
Okay.
He works on the railway, so very, very different than the broadcasting world. But same job security though, because they get laid off quite a bit, and we know what the broadcasting world is like. So yeah, that's the same, I guess. But
yeah, for everything that's different, there's always some similarities.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, I'm older though, so I brag about that quite a bit. 16 minutes, and it's
perfect.
Count every second that I'm older. So
see,
yeah.
I'm an Irish twin, so I am 11 months older than my younger brother. So I have a little bit on him as well. Just in case you guys are wondering, Irish twin, look it up. It is real. It's when 2 siblings are born less than a year apart. 16 days actually separate him and my first birthday. So just a little fun fact to drop in there.
I didn't even know that was a thing, Irish twin. I'd never heard of that, but that's cool to know. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Reece, we're here to talk about baseball. I know you've been busy with the OHL for the last 6 months, but we're getting into baseball season. The Welland Jackfish already underway, playing a couple of games with the Ottawa Titans up in the nation's capital. You guys have a preseason game tomorrow as of this taping, too. You guys are really kind of in the thick of things. Obviously, 3 pennants in a row, defending champions, 3 years in a row with at least 30 wins. When you take a look, and you actually got to go to Welland Stadium earlier on today, what are some of the early returns that you have seen in Jackfish land?
Yeah, it's really exciting. The vibe is high, and I mean, why wouldn't it be? You win a championship, I would imagine they would be pretty well everywhere in all markets. But yeah, you know what? I don't know if it's the new league. I don't know if it's the new league, same league, different name. I don't know if it's the fact that we've got new lights at the ballpark, so that's going to be a nice addition. I don't know if it's just seeing the familiar faces back at the ballpark, working on all those promos in between innings. It just seemed like it was like, let's hurry it up, let's get going, let's start playing regular season games. And today, Smack was in the building. He was getting all his gear ready to go for when the fans come into Welland Stadium on the 16th. Obviously we have the opener in Brantford the night before, but got a chance to meet Miles Martinez as well, a very tall human being at 6'6". So he's an exciting one. But no, I think it's just, the sun peaked out at like one of the perfect times when I was there, and the grass was freshly cut that day. They were working on the infield, trying to get it ready for next week. And baseball is back in southwestern Ontario, and Barrie, I guess. They're not really Southwestern, but everyone's thrilled. We want to get started. We want to run it back and get another title.
For the record, I'm from Timmins. Anything south of Sudbury and North Bay is considered Southern Ontario.
Okay. All
Just,
right.
just, just, just to put that out there.
All
You
right.
mentioned you mentioned Miles Martinez. I mean, he is one of the new faces on this team. And for the record, when I think of guys that are like 6'6", 6'7", anything above, I'm just picturing the old wrestling adage with Shawn Michaels and Diesel coming out of the old out of gorilla position, and he got trying to jump to get the high five. Is
Yeah.
that something you had to do with him earlier on today? Is he that type of guy, a little fun loving, or is
We
he
didn't have
like
to do
down to
the high
business?
five,
Okay,
which man, that would have been funny. That was one issue with me. I never got to 6 feet. I've been like 5'11" since like grade 11 or 10. So that's tough. But I mean, I had to look up. It wasn't just a slight head tilt. It was a little bit more further back. We've had history of tall guys on the mound in Welland, Ben Abram being one of those guys. And, obviously last year, but that's a big human being that could be very intimidating on the mound. Nice guy, great guy. We shot a really funny video today of him unpacking his bag and kind of showing off all the Welland Jackfish gear that we give all the players. But it looks like when he's on the mound, he's going to be a one tough SOB to face in the plate.
one of many new faces coming onto this team. Who are some of the other faces that are new around Jackfish land that are kind of eye opening to you and should be eye opening to the fans coming up?
Yeah, I mean, new-ish Justin Gideon.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was a Jackfish and played for the Cardinals before that as well. Fans are fired up to see him. I think he's someone that you just come to the ballpark for alone. To get him back from the Frontier League and seeing some of the guys that have left the team, that's a easy fill. I think there was mutual interest from each side. I know Justin did have interest to come back to Welland, so it was fairly easy to attract him back. And raising another banner, I'm sure is like, oh, okay, well, let's go for number 3 this year. Probably helped as well. But he's number 1 to stand out. Bryce Arnold, another one. Immediately you walk into the clubhouse and his stall might be at the far end of the clubhouse, but you saw all of the Toronto Blue Jays swag that he has collected over his years, and immediately pop out, and it's like, oh, well, Bryce Arnold has arrived, and that's a high name guy. Whether you attach the Blue Jays name to something, that's always going to get people's attention. So I think Bryce Arnold is one that people are really going to want to keep their eyes on. It's really, and he's not really new, but he was new enough, and Pedro de los Santos, and we're going to touch on him, I'm sure, later on, but in limited time with the Jackfish coming over at the deadline, he was a big part of the team down the stretch. So I looked at, again, like Gideon, a new-ish face for sure for this year. And I mean, I'm just trying to go over the new guys. It's so hard. Quinona is a guy that we are excited to get in town as well. That's another tall starting pitcher, 6'4", he's 226, right? That's an intimidating guy on the mound. So, in terms of the 3 names for sure, Quinones, Gideon, and I would say with Arnold, those are the 3 that I'm really excited for.
And you mentioned first of all, let's touch on Gideon a little bit more here. On a previous podcast, we were kind of figuring out, okay, who's kind of the early front runners for MVP, and immediately Justin Gideon's name came up. Is it a fair assessment? Do you feel like he's in that front running at this point in time?
I would think so. I think when people look at what he did before he left for the Frontier League, then that's an automatic. Yeah, you got to consider him for it. Obviously, that's why we play the games. We'll see how the season goes on, but he can field, he can hit, he can run. There's a select few that can do what Gideon can do, but it takes a special kind of talent. And I think when you've got him patrolling the outfield, and him and Gio know each other really well, so that's a relationship that's going to work out immediately in the outfield. And I think with Gideon, again, the fact, the name, for people in the stands, they're here to watch Justin Gideon make his return as a Jackfish, and he's going to deliver. It's hard to say somebody's going to be a 400 hitter. If he is, then I would have to think he's a front runner, unless we see an Owen Boone type season again like we did last year. But I think with Gideon, if he's not considered MVP off the hop, then well, he might have a chip on his shoulder to prove people wrong, and I think he would. So I'd be in for that vote for MVP off the hop, or as one of the favorites, I should say.
By the way, Justin, I know you follow the show. Open invite. Come on anytime. Now, to the key departures and, filling in the gaps, there are some gaps that need to be filled. I'm sure Gideon is going to be doing some yeoman's work to fill in some of these gaps on offense. But on the defensive end, you lose Grayson Barrett, you lose Thomas Green. I know he played in Ottawa most of the year, but Jake Sanford ends up going to Guelph.
Mm-hmm.
Those are three pretty big names that are from that championship roster that are out the door, going and playing with other teams in this league. When you take a look at the roster as constructed, do you feel more needs to be done to kind of remain at the top? Because it does feel like, especially with the new CBL going pro, a lot of teams were very busy in the off season, and a lot of teams are really gunning for a top spot that you guys have been occupying the last few years.
Yeah, it's tough to say if more additions need to happen. I think when you look at the team on paper, and again, the team on the field is way different than a team on paper. I just saw that, unfortunately, with the Bulldogs season coming to an end this past week. Arguably the best team on paper, however, unfortunately, just couldn't get it done on the ice. That's another thing, but I think we're going to find out. And the reason I say that is because last year, as good of a start we got off to, I still think that there was something to be desired as those first few weeks and into the second, third month of the season went on. We made the switch in the infield with Weisner and Luther having to swap positions at second and short. We had a carousel of third basemen throughout the season last year, Thomas Green being a part of that. Heck of a job with the glove. I know he kept not liking me cheering for Michigan, being that he was a Purdue guy, a Big Ten rival there a little bit. But another great dude that could play defense. Had a little bit of trouble with the bat, but other than that, I loved him at third base. So that, fielding wise, that could be tough to fill. But also at the same time, I think we'll find out as the first few weeks go along. This team doesn't seem like they're in a huge rush to really make any drastic moves off the hop. I think the roster that we have in front of us now is good. Gio Morello, obviously, he starts with it. You added Justin Mara, Luther and Weisner again up the middle. In the conversation for the best double play duo last year. Smybert is a part of that as well. So, I like our outfield mostly. I shouldn't say mostly, a lot. There's speed out there, so I think our outfield's going to be fine. It's just a matter of figuring out what's going to work early, because again, third base was a little bit of an issue for us last year to start the year, and maybe throughout the season. First base, we had a few people around, Grayson Barrett being one of those, Josh Marchesa being another, as you mentioned, Barrett off to Chatham Kent. Short answer, I like this team. Do I think there will be additions? Yes. I'm not sure what at this moment.
Yeah, a couple of names you touched on earlier, but we missed one that a few of the guys in Chatham Kent told me about. Owen Ozenich, right-handed pitcher. A couple of guys out of the France League that CK has, and you have Quinones and Ozanovic, I guess. We'll have to see the pronunciation.
Mm-hmm.
They talked to him and they were high praises to him, saying he's a legend over there. I think he's about 35 years old. Any insight you have on him, because his numbers are just, a whip under one, ERA of 2.19 last year. Even though at 35 years old, like I said, they speak very highly of him. A few of the guys who played against him last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's another guy that kind of embodies the Jackfish way, and by that I mean a dude that's just going to go out there and shove no matter what. Obviously you have to perform. That's number one. Don't get me wrong, but when you tie him, Ben Abrams going to compete his butt off. Layer's gonna be really good. Tio Ortega, excited to see his second go around here after the incredible season. It's just, again, it's another guy that just will come in and compete. And our clubhouse is full of that on the pitching side. So yeah, that's the one strong suit of the Jackfish. I think it always has been, just guys that go out there and compete. And he's just another one to the puzzle that, even at 35 years old, I mean, it's hard to beat that. I'm not there yet. Obviously, I've still got a few years to get there, but I don't think I've ever matched his compete level at the wherever I played. So he just fits the Jackfish mold, and I think he's going to fit in really well.
And we've gone 15 minutes already, and I don't think we brought up the man behind the plate. Robbie Mullen. You could talk about 10 different guys with Welland, but a lot of times Robbie's going to be the first guy you talk about.
Yeah, he usually is. I still watch that walk-off home run highlight all the time from last season. Unfortunately, Mark, at the hands of the Kitchener Panthers, but that sort of defined his season. He was the home run leader for the majority of it. Felt it a little bit at the end of the year where they just weren't going out of the park, and he was maybe trying to get a little bit pull happy. But at the end of the day, in the playoffs, he showed up and was Robert Mullen. And it started with that walk-off. The arm is still top notch. His blocking abilities, I have this conversation quite a bit with a few people around the league, but when you look at teams have been known to stack up their pitching staff with more imports than maybe position players, right? And I think when you have a guy that is an import from Panama like Mullen is, when you've got import pitchers, that makes it a little bit easier for that transition, whether it's their first year here or whether they've been doing this for a while. So Davey Mendez being one of those guys, obviously Euclides Layer, just Robbie Mullen. His banner's up at the stadium in a few places. There's a lot of Robbie Mullen jerseys that go around. So, he's. I expect him to have another monster year at the plate. I expect him to hit over 300. Just a workhorse, and maybe after that late season slump, we might see him come firing out of the gate again, like we did last year.
He's got the offense. He's got the ability, the athletic ability behind the plate. But I would probably say, even more so than any of that, he's just got such a great mind for baseball. You touched on Pedro de los Santos earlier, and just, kind of the journey that he has been on. Obviously, he and Mullen teamed up in London, but I really feel like he didn't really come back into his own until he came back with Welland, with Mullen in behind the plate and, kind of easing him into it. You saw blips of what he's able to do in Kitchener. You saw blips of it in Brantford, but it seemed like he was just a brand new Pedro de los Santos when he went over to the Jackfish late in the season. Quite personally, I feel like, in my opinion, Robert Mullen was a big part of that.
He absolutely was. It was talked about quite a bit off the field about the impact Robbie Mullen has on Pedro de los Santos, and sort of, I shouldn't say a calming effect. De los Santos pretty at least what we saw in Welland was pretty mild mannered on the mound and off the field. So, but it just, he knew what De Los Santos could do, right? It's the comfort level obviously is one thing, but I think when your catcher's thinking two steps ahead of what the pitcher's thinking, then that takes the thinking out of the pitcher's head, right? And that might be the Captain Obvious key to the show today. don't let pitchers think, but realistically, that's the big thing. You let the catchers do the thinking and just let the pitchers throw. And I think with De Los Santos, it just looked like he was more free with Robert Mullen. He felt comfortable with the fingers that were going down. The trust to block a ball from De Los Santos to Mullen to be able to, be comfortable throwing something in the dirt helps as well. So yeah, we saw that success in London. He was the top pitcher for the majors for a couple of seasons there with Robbie Mullen, and to see them back, it was deja vu. The only thing missing was the majors pinstripes, and they traded it for Jackfish green. So that was really cool to see. De Los Santos has had success in this league. It was nice to see that again late last year and into the playoffs.
You touched on the rotation already, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, very similar guys that are coming back, including Ben Abram, that's on the hill. And, this was a rotation that was very, very deadly. So didn't matter who you threw out there. A big part of that success came with that rotation. A lot of guys going deep into ball games, and with the bullpen that you guys have, even if Abrams struggles, even if Ortega has that rare struggle, you still have a guy in the bullpen that can come in, eat up a few innings, and get yourself to De Los Santos, especially like get to Mendez in the ninth. But you didn't really have that too often because the guys were just shoving at the top of in the rotation.
Yeah, that was absolutely one of the strong suits last year. I know we went through a stretch offensively where we could get guys on, but if they were in scoring position, we weren't scoring a run. And no matter what we did, we couldn't score a run. So we did have to rely on that starting staff to just keep throwing up zeros, trying, getting ones in tough situations, like minimal damage as possible. And that helped the Jackfish when they were in that offensive slump, right? It's Abram, you mentioned it, Ortega, up there in wins in the regular season, right? Ben Abram obviously was a guy that preferred to throw at home, usually just threw at home, but we saw a few road starts from him throughout the season as well, which was nice. So those two guys obviously lead it. I know De Los Santos can do both. He can come out of the pen. He can start if need be. He was used that way last year. Layer, same thing. Just came in and said, put me wherever. I just want to win another ring. I don't really care what situation I'm in. You can start me. You can throw me out of the pen. I don't care. And then we kind of started to figure out something where, if we go Layer, De Los Santos, Mendez, we can find a guy to spot start now and then if we could go those three back-to-back in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. So really, these guys are just here to win, and they don't care how they do it. So I expect the starting staff to be good again. Absolutely. Do I think Ben Abrams got the home opener? I think that's automatic. People love him at the pond. They love Ortega. They loved what he did in the playoffs last year. That was a game 1 performance against Kitchener that a lot of Jackfish fans are going to remember with how well he pitched. So 1-2 punch. I think we're set. And then it's just filling in the rest of the way that, that supporting cast and how they're going to help out.
Well, the on-field production sometimes kind of gets overlooked when you think about the stuff that happens off the field as well. Just it's obviously a show in Welland. It's Niagara's greatest show. What do you make of some of the promotions that you guys got coming up this year, and Jackfish fans have to look forward to this year?
Well, hey, the lawn cocks are back. That's a big one.
Get them going.
But that'd be number 1 probably. Jerseys are different. That's a little bit of a tease. That's all I'm going to say about those.
Okay.
The game's earlier in the year, I can tell you that right now, which will be good to do. But no, we've got giveaways galore. For any Jackfish
those
fans,
Canada Day jerseys too. You got to talk about those.
Oh yeah, the Mountie jerseys with the hot dogs in the holster. Yeah, that's the right word. We're working on the hats now. We're trying to figure out what the best hat is to go with them. So I imagine those will be released soon. Yeah, it's so much fun to be a part of, right? There's one side of baseball which is on the field and getting results and winning championships on the field, but to pack the stadium with people that come for, whether they want to participate in the undie run from foul line to foul line, which brought its fair share of entertainment last year, whether it's the donut race where you're stacking those inner tubes onto people and they've got to run a certain distance, right? Or spinning around with a baseball bat and then you got to hit something off a tee. That's entertaining. So, yeah, it's different, but in a good way. And I think this year it's not going to disappoint whatsoever. I know it's championship banner night to start the year for the home opener. So I know people are going to be lined up early. So this is sort of the warning to everybody: get there as quick as possible. It's you want that championship banner giveaway. It's going to be a good one. We've got a Gio Morello bobblehead giveaway as the season goes along too. So yeah, it's exciting. And Green Bee, CJ, the dancing, the green tutu, the hair. That was another thing that got added that we thought was funny, and it worked because a lot of the fans liked it. And we saw a lot of the fans start to, I shouldn't say a few fans started to wear the getup. I know we had a youngster join CJ a few times for the Green Bee dance. So that was really cool. And I think when you're able to connect with the fans that way, not just have a winning baseball team, that helps, but those promotions off the field and activities off the field, really, really make a difference.
Well, you saw me there. Game one of the final last
Yep.
season was my first time at the pond. People will look at Welland around the league and, oh, it's the evil empire because you guys have won so much. I can say it just because I'm doing the exact same thing with lacrosse right now with Six Nations. But
Yeah.
the fact of the matter is, it's a great time. It really is. Even if you're just a visiting fan going in there, you get soaked into the atmosphere, and even if you're not cheering for the visiting team, like you're coming in as a visiting fan, and the team that's on the field competing against the Jackfish aren't the team that's from your hometown, really.
Mm-hmm.
You come in for the atmosphere, and it's a great time. And I think that's my appeal to the fans out there as well, is that you might think they're the evil empire. Give it a chance. Give it a
Well,
chance. You'll have a great time.
yeah, and you know what? The big thing is that we don't really care.
No, exactly.
That might sound really arrogant, but it doesn't really bother us that much. And perfect example of it. And Mark, Jack Moore, now does play-by-play for the Oshawa Generals throughout the winter, and obviously Laurier football in the fall. But he's got family down here, and they try to get out to at least one or two games a season. They might come to more, but I know Jack was at one last year, and he said he's a baseball fan, but yeah, he couldn't believe the amount of stuff that was going on. I remember he sent me a photo from his seat. He goes, "Reece, you're doing these games?" And it's blurry, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can tell that's me. I can still see it through the blurriness just from how far away it was." But yeah, he said it's a blast, despite only coming to one or two a year. It's just, again, the casual fan is going to enjoy themselves, whether it's a great game, whether it's a horrible game, whether the Jackfish win, whether they lose. There's something off the field that'll make your night better than it was coming in. I think that's the main thing for us is we are here to entertain. We are here to make the ballpark fun. And yes, winning baseball games has a lot to do with that. But, with down years, there hasn't been very many. Don't get me wrong. It's been a very successful tenure in Welland. But those promotions are what get you through some tough times. And they'll always be there. They're not going anywhere. Ryan Harrison's outfit's not going anywhere. His tropical shirt and shorts aren't going anywhere. Those sumo costumes that we've got, those aren't going anywhere. So, people might not like it. Again, at the end of the day, we don't care as long as we're making it entertaining for the people that are in the ballpark, and for Alec and I, making the people enjoy the broadcast from wherever they're watching from.
And Mark, I'm sure you can appreciate this, but for the rest of the CBL, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And right now, Welland is the man. So that's what 8 other teams. I know you'd like the Ric Flair call out. So
A little Ric Flair call out. I love it. That's the second Ric Flair call out as part of these season previews, by the way. Just put that on the
Love
tally.
it. Love it. Nothing wrong with that. Keep it
No,
going.
nothing with a little bit of
I'm surprised there haven't been more.
Well, Reece, thank you so much. And first off, congratulations on getting to call that, you and Alec getting to call that final out, joining the fraternity of broadcasters in the IBL, including myself, Dylan Baker, and many others in the last 5 years that have been able to get that opportunity to add that to your demo reel. Because I know at the end of the day, for us broadcasters that are working in this league, now we're working in a professional league, yes, too, but we're also looking for that next step up, and something like that is an opportunity that only comes every once in a while, and is definitely something that you will remember for quite a long time, and might be that one thing that ends up getting you into the major leagues one day.
Yeah, I still remember that day like it was yesterday, and I was reminded today. We've put up the new championship posters and banners, and walk into the clubhouse, and the group photo is right inside the doorway. I'm not in the initial photo, but you can see me up top in the back, in the press box, because Alec was down on the field for the trophy presentation, interview, stuff like that. So I made the photo, even though I wasn't technically part of the photo.
I think they call that a photo bomb.
I think so. I think so.
I think
It's
that's
weird.
what the kids
you
call
kind
it.
of see me like leaning on a chair, like with the headset on, like just kind of chilling in the background. And
did you know the
time
photo was being taken?
Yeah. Had no clue that was like it was just there. I was like, okay. I'm like, kind of looking at my watch, like waiting for Alec for interviews, and then we get the word like, yeah, you know what, we're just gonna celebrate the rest of the night. So it was it was a day that I'm not gonna forget. I've got a video. I put my phone down on we have a little bit of a like the windowsill area, so I put it there. Got the reaction from Alec and I as soon as that final out was recorded. So that was so much fun, and if I get the opportunity to do that again, then hey, let's run her back. Let's get another one. But it was something special to be a part of.
Reece, thank you so much for joining us and taking the time, giving us the sneak peek into the pond coming up for the 2026 CBL season.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mark. Thanks a lot, Dan. I know this is the second time I've been on, and whenever you need it, I'm happy to do it. So thank you for having me.
This has been another edition of the CBL Change Up. We will see you next time.